If I buy a drink at the club and it makes me funnier, can I claim that as a write-off as a business expense because I am funnier because of the drink?
Clem would put it down as performance enhancer.
Right.
I think if the IRS saw a return where someone was claiming that they were paying for performance enhancers, they might want to audit that return.
This podcast is not financial advice. It is for entertainment purposes only. Get ready to laugh your assets off because this is the Lighter Side of Finance podcast. Now here's your host, Billy C.
All right, we are here on the Lighter Side of Finance. First of all, I want to introduce our panelists, and we have with us ladies first, Tara Jean O'Brien from our panelists. Writer, comedian, actor based in LA. You've been on. Now, I wasted a lot of time because of you. Just want you to know that because of headline writer for The Onion.
Yes.
I spent many.
Yeah.
And Tara has appeared on Conan, as well as appearances on a show. I actually was a regular viewer of the show. Tosh.0 was one of my favorites.
Oh, wow. Really? Good.
Yes, I love that show. And I even go back and because it's like streaming now on Pluto. I don't know if you ever watched Pluto. There's a Tosh.0 channel on Pluto.
I mean, he was on for so long. I'm not surprised. I don't know how many episodes he had.
Yeah, but always good stuff. And then you've been on General Hospital.
I was.
And I noticed recently in your social media that you're working the poll. I mean, you're a poll worker.
That's right. I am. Just like what you think. Just like that. No. It's like all of that. No, I've been working as a poll worker for the elections, the last 3 elections, because I hope America still exists soon. That's my hope, is I help it still exist through voting. And I have learned a lot about people who vote.
I'm the only one that heard that wrong.
No, that was my intention. I do a bit about
okay.
this thing.
I was like...
the reason why it's confusing is because I'm from Nevada. And when you say you work the polls in Nevada, it means something different. And
it means the same thing in Omaha too. I'm just going to say that's it means something anywhere.
But there's an art in it too. I wasn't like, what I mean, judging. I thought there's an art,
Listen, look, I could not do the things that those women do on a pole. I dare you to try to climb a pole like that and then just hook your thighs and stay there. Like, you can't do it.
They got a new mechanism now where it spins on its own, so they don't have to get like that's a patented design someone came up with. Engineering, I'm just saying, engineering is applicable everywhere.
Yeah, JP, you're solving problems. You're solving problems is what we're doing.
We're solving problems.
If you double dog dare me, I might try it. A dare's doesn't mean anything anymore, but, maybe.
Well, I think that's a perfect segue right into JP Lambiase. You have an engineering background, it sounds like, but I love your bio. Adopted South Korean into an Italian divorced half Catholic family from upstate New York, and now you do comedy.
It's wordy.
It is wordy, but we can get to the point there. But also a YouTuber.
But yeah, it's interesting though. Growing up, like I was adopted, but they kind of treated me like if they were Asian parents. They're like, no, you know what I mean? Like no acting. No, I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to do all that. They're like, no, you're going to be an engineer. So I did go to school for the stable job. But the thing is, while I was an engineer, I secretly was building my YouTube audience. So I kind of compare myself to Tony Stark. I got like taken by terrorists and I worked, you know what I mean? Like worked real hard without them knowing. And then I escaped with a machine, so. And
then of course we have on the panel with us, Clem Jameson, currently a successful comedy channel you have on TikTok, Jokes from the Bunker, grew up to 250,000 followers. And tell us about Low Gear Comedy and Quick Draw.
So yeah, Low Gear Comedy is my new passion. We're doing comedy production in Omaha right now, video production, audio production, show production. We actually just teamed with another group to do Quick Draw Comedy, new Sunday podcast live. Everybody accuses us of ripping off Kill Tony, so we ignore that and just keep doing our thing and what we do. And it's a lot of fun. We've been trying to grow the Omaha comedy scene here and have a lot of fun doing it. That's what we've been doing.
Have you seen that? It seems like every time somebody comes out with something that's exciting, oh wait, you're ripping off somebody else. There's no original ideas, right?
Absolutely. There's no good ideas left. So we got to rip somebody off, right? Somebody's going to rip this podcast off someday, I hope, right? Because that means we made it if you get ripped off, right?
Thievery is the best form of flattery, is what I like to say too.
So we are into the dreaded tax season. Comedians pay taxes too, right?
That's not true. That's a lie.
No comment.
Cash.
Was I supposed to laugh at that?
Maybe.
Wait, Bella's not the IRS though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
wait.
Bella's not going to get us in trouble.
Okay,
Yeah,
then I
well,
stand by my
IRS.
comment. Yeah, no.
Hold on. The
comedians
IRS
do
can
not.
watch this, right? It is open to watch. Like the IRS people can watch this podcast, right? I'm
I need to
rethinking
put on
whether I
that.
want to do this anymore.
I don't work for the IRS, but I'm not
Okay,
the
like
IRS. I'm not
Okay.
going to report anyone.
I'm a fantastic bookkeeper, by the way. I have very well filed management.
I own a book.
I have a file cabinet.
Bella Rubiton. Did I pronounce that right? Rubiton?
Rubinton.
Rubinton. I'll get there. Bella
Very
Rubinton.
close.
Okay. And you've been a tax preparer since 2020.
Right.
Many of us are faced with the misconceptions around tax season, so many things that I even didn't think. So I'm a dad, and I have some minors in the household. Students and minors don't need to file or pay taxes.
Is this a trick question?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
If they're working,
Yes.
obviously, because you have to, any place you work at, you have to give them your. I don't know all the forms. I'm kind of a guru, but the W-9, 1049, the 1028, the 1098. Yeah.
Now you're just saying numbers.
What does the expert say?
So in terms of the Form 1098, whoever said that was correct. That form does exist. That is to report. So that one is to report college tuition expenses paid.
What?
So for college students between the ages of, I believe it's up to the age of 24, technically, depending on how much money they've earned, if they live at home the rest of the year, their parents can still claim them. So it's a kind of a case-by-case basis whether they have to file their own taxes or if their parents can still claim them as dependents. So it's not really an easy thing to answer.
So I could have been still feeding off of that earned income credit off of my 24-year-old son.
So it's something called the other dependent credit. It's only about $500 per kid. It's not as much as the child tax credit, but a lot of parents still claim their children up until they're 24.
I think instead of calling it the other, dependent, it should just be the sad adult, tax write-off credit, right? It's because it's no longer the child deduction. It's just the sad adult that still lives in your house. I mean, right?
The failure to launch credit.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
in terms of minors who do not end up going to college, parents are allowed to claim those dependents up until the age of 19.
Got it.
But in terms of child entertainers, I think it probably, in order to get answers about that, it might be better to talk to someone who has more clients in California or a state where there just are more of them.
I mean, how about this? I know that you say you don't work with child entertainers a lot, but what about the parents that steal all their money? Who pays the taxes? The kid that works or the parent that steals all their money? Just wondering.
I think there are special laws for child entertainers. I'm not familiar with any of them because it's kind of a gray area because technically under normal circumstances, where the children are not making enough income to need to file a tax return, children up until really the age of 17 are not required to file their own tax return because up until the age of 17 they are still classified as dependents. But then when it turns into situations of the child making enough to need to file a tax return or sometimes out earning the parents, I'm actually not sure what happens. And I don't want to say something that makes absolutely no sense.
When you said the dependent, if they don't go to college, it's 19. And then if they do go to college, they can claim them as a dependent until they're 24.
That's correct.
So that's why parents want their kids to go to college so they can write them for tax credit.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if that's.
I mean, if I was a
entirely correct
parent, I'd be
reason.
like, you better go to college. I want a refund.
Okay, but
At the end of the year.
right, but if that college student also has a summer job or a job during the semester, and they earn an amount that goes over the standard deduction, then the parents really are not supposed to claim them. Then at that point, the college age dependent is supposed to file their own tax return.
Supposed to, though. They're not
Right.
supposed to.
People still do this. They really shouldn't. I'm trying to be very vague here.
I feel like we're in a legal podcast. This is like the law, the lighter side of legal.
This is another podcast.
Yeah. This is a sad day for me because it is my son's 20th birthday today. So I just lost that credit. It's what I'm hearing. So
Sorry,
I'm just finding this out.
Does your son live with you?
He does.
Technically, I think there are some circumstances where people do keep claiming other dependent credit for their dependents that live with them if the dependent lives with them year round. If, let's say, that dependent doesn't work at all, I think there are some circumstances, or if the dependent is disabled, there are some exceptions where basically if there are children who never move out, then the parents can just keep claiming them. I don't want to give you any ideas, but there are ways where you hypothetically could continue to claim your child if they continue to live with you.
If I'm hearing you right, what you're telling me is I need to kick my son out tonight. Right? No.
If you can prove that you are still the one responsible for paying all of the head of household costs, and your child is not contributing like up to 50% of the household costs, because the way that the head of household status works is that the head of household has to pay for 50% or more of the household expenses, then there are sometimes ways where you can continue to claim a dependent, but the most you would get for that would be other dependent credit.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder whether I actually contribute 50%. I mean, financially I do, but just emotionally and spiritually, I'm not sure that I'm contributing the 15%. So
it's mostly about financial it's about financial contributions. Who pays the rent, who pays the mortgage, that kind of thing. Who buys the groceries.
Clem, it's fine. You could still be a deadbeat dad. No one's going to worry about that.
Perfect. That's really the question I was asking. Can I still be a deadbeat dad? So I appreciate the answers there.
I mean, technically, if people have their have older relatives living with them, and they can prove that they are the head of household, even if the relative that they're providing for is older than them, that there are cases where people can actually claim their parents.
Yeah, so my parents are on their own. I'm not moving back in. They're not moving in with me. That didn't work when it worked. So yeah, that's great. I'll just pay the taxes. I'll kick my son out and pay the taxes. We'll be good. So I think that's a fair trade.
Now we have a bunch of questions we want to get to, Bella, but before we dive into that, another misconception. A lot of us dealt with remote working. I'm sure everybody on the pod right now has dealt with some sort of remote working during the pandemic. And a common misconception is that remote employees can claim their home as a deduction.
The entire house? Is that the misconception? You can claim your entire house?
It's where they're doing their work, right? It's where their work is happening, right?
Okay. Does anyone want to comment on what you think, if you're a remote employee, you can claim on your taxes in terms of working from home?
Is it just the square footage of your home office? Like, so say I had like 100 square feet with that's my office. Don't I get to do that?
Yes and no.
It's gotta be like dedicated space, right?
The only way that you can claim a home office on your taxes, the square footage is one of the two methods. I believe there's another method. But I mean, I did not work remotely during the pandemic. I worked in person the whole pandemic. But I did have clients come to me and say that they wanted to be able to claim their home office on their tax return because they were working remotely. The thing that most people do not know about what makes a home office eligible to be claimed is that it needs to be a dedicated office space in your home. And if you use it for any other purpose, so if it's a combination home office and a playroom for a kid, or a home office and dining room, if it is not only a home office, you cannot claim it at all.
I nailed it then.
Yeah, and it's very like that could be false subjectively.
Yeah.
Where like, you just make a room and then when you get audited, you just clear it out. You just make it look, you take the toys and you're like, kids, put the toys in the closet.
Well, the closet's where Tara works, we heard earlier. So like, Tara, be careful claiming that closet. If there's clothes in there, you can't claim it. But if there's no clothes in there, then you can claim it. Unless you call the clothes sound dampening, and then you can claim it again.
They are sound dampening, first of all.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I am not going to tell you what to do in terms of your home office claims on your own tax returns. But if anyone was one of my clients and they were to say something along the lines of that they weren't sure that their home office was only a home office, I wouldn't put it on their return.
I need like the Better Call Saul CPA. That's the one that I need.
Yes.
The one that I need the bending the rules CPA.
Yeah, Bella, you seem like you have a lot of ethics and standards. I don't know if we would work well.
Yeah, we're comedians. Like we threw all that out the window a long time ago.
I also do comedy. I've been doing comedy for eight years. I don't like it when my clients get audited. As far as I know, none of my clients have ever been audited.
That's good.
In the entire time that I've been doing taxes. Because if someone seems like they'll be an audit risk, I will either refuse to do their return, or I will tell them I will not put this information on your return because I don't think you'll be able to prove it. If they cannot tell me that they have the documents at home to prove something, especially with self-employment, I won't put it on their return. I've had clients get mad at me for this, but they never get audited.
So back to the tax credits, is there a limit on how many child tax credits you can claim? Like, can I have 20 kids and claim 20 of them, or is there a limit on how many?
As far as I know, if you can actually prove that the 20 kids are yours, and do these 20 kids live with you, or do they not?
Well, I don't have 20 kids. I have 4, but my wife's gonna be mad if I get more credits. But yeah, we gotta maybe get better credits by having more kids.
Like the Duggars. Like the Duggars have 1,000.
I don't think there's a limit to how many times you can claim the child tax credit. Once each kid gets over the age of 17, you're going to have fewer child tax credits because that's the maximum age that the child tax credit can be taken at.
Clem, isn't that like a double-edged sword, though? Yeah.
Well, my wife's not going to like this news that we can have more kids. I'm just going to say that. So,
in New York, there is also a credit called the non-custodial earned income credit, where if someone can prove that they are, I believe it is current on their child support, and they are actively paying child support through New York State, and their kid does not live with them, they can still receive a certain type of the earned income credit.
What if I'm just a really good influence on my friend's kid?
That wouldn't count for anything.
Okay. Bella, you don't have to rain on my parade totally.
I think if you pay over 50% of my household, you can claim my kids if you'd like. I think that's what we heard earlier, right?
Noted.
Right?
For head of household, the person who's claiming head of household needs to live in the same household.
Well, I hope you like Omaha because you're moving in.
Or more of the bills and then claim head of household. That doesn't work.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. Because then you could just be like a rich guy that just like helps all these houses out. Right.
I'd have to be a rich guy first, though. So
we mentioned the dreaded A word earlier, talking about keeping our head above water, and we don't want to see an audit. What are some of the common triggers, things that trigger an audit?
Sometimes audits are completely random, and there is nothing that triggers them. That's probably not reassuring. That means you can do everything on your taxes correctly, and the IRS can still randomly select you for an audit anyway. Sometimes they'll just want you to verify.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Sometimes they will just want you to verify all of your information to prove that everything matches. Like they'll want further verification of your income, when in reality you didn't do anything wrong. You've just been randomly pulled for an audit. Other times it's because they think that something that you've reported on your taxes does not line up. Usually the more complex a tax return is, the more likely it is to get audited. People who are self-employed get audited much more frequently than people who receive W-2s, because when you're self-employed, especially if you are not paid on, if you do not receive a 1099 and you're just reporting your own income, the IRS will question it a lot because they don't have anything to check it against. So sometimes they'll ask business owners for proof of receipts, proof that the numbers that they provided are true.
So with the audit, so I've been doing my own taxes now for 24 years using a software tax program. Mm-hmm. And this year when I went to do my taxes, I think I put the decimal place in the wrong spot or somewhere. And instead of getting like 1,000 or 2,000 back, it said that my return would be $1.2 million. So my question is, what type of motorcycle should I buy with that money?
If that is, I mean...
And for the record, I actually corrected the issue. I did have something wrong that it said that was my refund. I knew that was wrong right away and corrected it, but I've been using that on stage as a joke, but it's still fun.
Yeah, no, it's a good joke, but
I appreciate that.
But if you bought the motorcycle, let's say you actually did this. If you actually bought the motorcycle because you thought you were receiving a $1.2 million tax refund, and let's say the IRS gave you the refund before they realized that it was a mistake.
Right.
Then, so if the IRS, like sometimes the IRS does issue refunds before they realize that there's an error. Mm-hmm. So there are cases where people have to pay parts of their refunds back. If you've spent money on a motorcycle and the IRS comes after you and says, we want that $1.2 million back now because let's say actually you owe money.
What if you doubled it up at a casino?
JP's onto something here.
Yeah, like what if you doubled up at a casino with the refund?
Right, and then paid the government back with the winnings.
Or it's simply doing this. This is way less risky. Put it in just a money market that makes like 6% or 5%. Do you have to pay the interest? Do you have to, the interest you accrued? Do you have to give them their money back, and then do you have to claim that interest?
If your refund earns interest, this is if the refund is wrong. If the refund turns out to be too high, and then somebody needs to be paid back.
Right.
They won't come after you for the interest until the next time you file taxes, because the way each tax year works is in 2024, you're paying taxes on everything you did in 2023. So,
and if I only drive my motorcycle for work, I can deduct it next year and it's covered. This is perfect. I love it.
If you can prove that you only drive your motorcycle for work, so depending on what your business is, you don't need to only drive your motorcycle for work. You need to just keep track of how much of the time, how much of the miles of it is for work, and half of it is which part is for work, which part is for personal use.
Right.
Because then basically, like, there's this thing called the standard mileage rate. There are two different ways to claim vehicles on taxes. You can either take the standard mileage rate, or you can use gas and tolls. Mm-hmm. And more like actual expenses as opposed to the standard mileage rate.
I just think that JP just started, like, I'd like to be on the ground floor of your Ponzi scheme, sir, because I think this is a great idea.
We have enough people to build a pyramid right now. We could definitely do this.
I'd like to be a founding member.
My mom always said that she's afraid that she's going to see me behind bars because I have a criminal mind.
I think the laws on pyramid schemes vary state by state, so I think it would depend on what states each of you are in.
You're in Texas.
We got several states covered here. Texas has got to be best.
There's no rules there, right? Like they're going to be.
We're going to avoid California.
I don't actually know. So everyone would have to Google this. I don't know. I think pyramid schemes are illegal in Pennsylvania, or they're very, very restricted in Pennsylvania. But otherwise, I just don't know. I don't actually know what the laws are for pyramid schemes in New York. I've never researched this.
I wonder if the people that tuned in to Lighter Side of Finance knew they was going to learn how to start a pyramid scheme. I thought they knew that, right? That's not on the advertisements. I don't think that's going to be on any of the commercials at all. That's a bonus right there.
Be a special bonus. This is a bonus episode.
That's right. We should talk about money laundering next.
I mean, we could talk about these bank accounts, but this could go very sideways.
As if it already hasn't.
I'm sure there are ways for it to get worse.
Oh, absolutely. We're all holding back, I think. There's like 10 things I didn't say already.
Agree.
Well, I think one of the things that we can all agree on is that neither one of us wants to pay taxes in any form or fashion. And do some people not have to file taxes?
What if you're a stay-at-home parent?
If you're a stay-at-home parent, if you're a stay-at-home parent, if you're married and your spouse does earn money, then you would still be required to file a married filing joint return if that's the tax status you're using. There's also married filing separately. If you're a stay-at-home parent and the only people who live in the household are you and your kid, and you're not legally married, then that would be a bit of a different case. And if you don't earn any income, then you are not required to file taxes. If you make under the standard deduction, usually you are not required to file either, because basically that's just, if you have any withholdings on W-2s throughout the year, you might get your withholdings back. You might get some of the earned income credit, but otherwise you won't get much else. But really the main one is if you have absolutely no income at all. Because even if you make under the standard deduction, there might still be benefits to filing a tax return.
Cash only. Got it.
No.
We're rubbing up on Bill.
That's what I heard.
No, if you are self-employed and you have a cash business and you make over, now I believe it is $600 from it, because the IRS is trying to crack down on this, you need to file your taxes. It used to be that you could get away with making more money in a cash business, but the IRS has realized that a lot of people who were receiving their income in cash were not filing their taxes, so they're trying to lower that amount. Here's a question for everybody.
Uh-oh.
After learning about all of this, does anyone actually want to become a tax preparer?
Oh, no, definitely not.
I love learning more about it. I will be perfectly honest with you, because I am constantly trying to find every way possible to just get deductions. To get
He wants the loopholes.
You also have to take a course and pass a knowledge test and everything, but
I'm out.
It is it's a very easy process.
I was just thinking there should be a job, just like when there's hackers and people like that. They usually get hired for security positions because their brain can see where the plot holes are, the loopholes are. They have a tax person that's so knowledgeable on the stuff where they say, hey, this could get exploited, and then prevent exploitation through the tax system, right? It'd be a job.
You'd make more money just exploiting it, though.
Yeah.
True. Integrity, though.
I've always thought it'd be interesting to try to start a tax business that specifically deals with doing taxes for stand-up comics, because it's an area that people who do not do comedy don't know very much about in terms of what you can claim, what you can't claim, that type of thing.
Let's partner. Let's do it.
But a lot of comics do not, especially because they get paid in cash, do not want to file taxes. So it's kind of a hard sell to anyone.
Oh, and they don't make any money.
Some of them do. You'd be surprised. There are comics who do make money.
Well, when you sit with them for like the hour or two it takes to do the return, you have to hear all their bits that are not worked out. I'm out. I couldn't do it. That's too much. That's like open mic all day. That's all you're getting.
Oh, no.
Like, I want to die. No, absolutely not.
I mean,
I'm already drained hearing that story.
Yeah.
I'm back in now. I want to hear these terrible bits. I want to hear them. I'm a glutton for punishment. I want back.
Bro, hear me out, kid.
Okay, what about...
the way that I see it, just like my regular tax clients, some of them are so difficult to deal with, or just like throughout my job, throughout my time doing taxes, some of my everyday clients who are not comics, because again, I have not gotten anyone to actually take me up on this. They are so difficult to deal with that sometimes I think it would be actually be easier to do taxes for comics.
Well, there's not a lot of income, so you wouldn't have a lot of work to do. I mean, just kidding. We're all very
you get the high paying guys. That's gonna be they'll be tough clients to get. There's tons of poor comics, but there's not a lot of rich comics.
Or maybe advising comics on ways that they can make more money instead of losing money.
Yeah,
that type of thing.
Take that.
financial advisor.
If I buy a drink at the club and it makes me funnier, can I claim that as a write-off as a business expense because I am funnier because of the drink? Yeah,
absolutely.
If it's a paid comedy gig, then I'd say yes.
All right.
And I wouldn't even put it under food and beverage because you'd only get 50% with that, right? You would put it under like production costs.
That's right. Supplies.
You could hypothetically do that. It is very hard to claim food and beverages. I mean, if you claim miscellaneous expenses, then you have to try to not get audited because then the IRS might ask what your miscellaneous expenses are. That's the only risk. But yeah, food and beverage, you can't claim 100%.
And then Clem would put it down as performance enhancer.
Right. So performance enhancing drug, essentially. Right.
You don't want to ever classify something you don't ever want to describe something in a way that it would sound suspicious on a tax return, because sometimes I think if the IRS saw a return where someone was claiming that they were paying for performance enhancers, they might want to audit that return.
I have some really bad advice I'm going to give. I just have to say that right now. But my one of my business friends said, you're better off being extremely risky and aggressive, because if you do get audited, paying that back is the cheapest loan that you could actually get.
Again, JP, this is, you're just firing it off. Your cohorts are like, be a criminal.
Because they give you so much grace period. And
it's true, though.
Put it all on red and let it ride, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, I'm thinking our next episode should be about bankruptcy because we're all going to need it after doing this. Just saying.
I just want JP's book on all this.
Oh, yeah. Can I co-author this with you?
I want to live stream a roulette wheel while we're doing this.
Oh, yeah.
But Bella, what other things that from other than what we've talked about here and JP's criminal actions can a comedian deduct? What other things can they actually deduct?
I mean, the main thing really to look at is mileage and car expenses. Okay. That's really the biggest area of deductions. But then if your comedy income within a year goes over $600, just from paid sets, which for some people it does. I mean, obviously not for everyone. Everyone's different. Then it might be a good idea to start adding on a section to your tax return saying that you are a self-employed comedian because of the reporting minimums. Technically, I think you can deduct clothes, if I remember correctly. If you're any type of performer, you can deduct your performance outfits if you have anything in terms of hair, makeup.
But can you wear it anytime, or can it only be on stage?
I know it's supposed to be it has to be either for a specific set or audition, and it's something that you would not normally wear. I don't know if if you wear it again.
Oh, like a uniform.
It's supposed to be something that you're buying specifically for comedy purposes.
Right.
And if you pay self-employment tax on just what you make with comedy, if you had another job, obviously. Because you're saying that you could have a job, but also be self-employed, right?
Yes.
There are people who both have jobs where they get paid on W-2s and are also self-employed.
Okay.
Yeah. What about this? What about the therapy bills for when I want to talk about what's happened during stand-up? That's deductible, right?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that one. But technically, if you are doing your own tax return, you can put anything that you want on it, as long as if the IRS sends you a letter and tries to audit you, you know how to defend it.
Yes.
If you have receipts of your therapy and that you could prove that your therapy is a work expense that's necessary for your comedy career, and you want to spend your time arguing with the IRS about this, if they audit you, that is completely your choice.
I save a ton of money on therapy by just going to open mics and telling all my problems to everybody that's listening. It's great.
Yeah.
I do think, though, that Bella makes a great point. If you can it's all about having a good argument. And
that's
also, when the IRS lady comes, we're comedians. Be a little likable and charismatic. You'll win her over. She'll be a lot more lenient.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know about that.
What do you is it like is it a federal offense to bribe an auditor?
Yeah, I think
don't
so.
do that. You're not supposed to bribe federal officials. I don't think that's legal.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
And they're not armed, right?
I don't think they are really. If you want to see a really interesting portrayal of an IRS auditor, has anyone seen Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yes. Oh, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've never met an IRS agent.
Well, come to think of it, if some people are moving around a ton of money, right? I would almost feel like you would need protection if you're going to audit large amounts of monies, because then you're in the realm. Money's dangerous. More money, more problems. You can get to the point where someone's just like, I'm screwed out of billions or whatever. I'm going to the IRS person or something, like them or just like.
Are you in therapy, JP?
Really
I was like, JP, what is this cry for help?
So with all of that's illegal, don't do it?
Yes, still illegal. That's the one thing we can't do, but yes, it's still illegal. Yeah. Right.
I'm just thinking of the worst case scenario here. All right? That's all I'm saying. It's fine, though.
Just playing devil's advocate, right?
Hey, JP, how close to rock bottom are you right now? Should we be concerned?
Should we call someone for you?
Yeah.
This is all for the lighter side of finance.
Do you specialize in dark comedy? I'm going to assume that all of this is a joke.
I'm still trying to find my voice, to be honest.
Don't. If any of it is serious, do not kill people.
On the record, there's no, I would not. No, it's not. I'm not gonna. No, don't worry, you'll be fine. I don't know where you live.
I mean, I don't work. For the
keep
IRS.
it that way for your safety.
I mean, I don't work for the IRS. I'm not worried.
You're safe. You're safe. Remember, you're in a
I've had clients yell at me enough about owing money on their taxes for eternity, and no one's ever come after me.
Yeah.
I don't think Bella woke up this morning and goes, I bet I'm going to have to explain to somebody.
Right.
I didn't.
Well, as we wrap up, I'll throw it to our three panelists if you guys have any, parting words for Bella and our audience.
Well, so JP, I just want to clarify. I said earlier I live in Omaha, but after hearing all this stuff, I just want to clarify. I actually live in Des Moines, so just putting that out there. Bella, I think you did a great job explaining some stuff here tonight. I've learned some things. We had a good time here and joking about a lot of stuff, but I think I learned something.
Yeah, I'm constantly fascinated with education. I always love learning. I did learn a lot today. And also, I'm very lazy. I like to cut corners, so I ain't gonna be trying to find Clem. I ain't gonna track him down. It's just too much work, and the risk reward is not there. So rest assured.
Here's what I've learned. I have a couple of freezers in my garage, and I'm not going to tell you what's in them, but I am going to tell you that JP, we need to sidebar some conversations. And now I didn't know that was what it was going to come out of today.
We're going to have to change the narrative here. We don't need the running gag that I'm a. Okay, we can't have that. But this is the first episode, guys. I don't need to be typecasted.
I didn't say. Listen, first of all, I didn't say you were a murderer. I just said you could get me out of a tough situation.
I'm guilty.
You could get me out of a tough spot, and I'm ready. I needed that fixer. I needed a fixer. Bella,
okay. So you're just baiting me now. You're baiting me with your freezers.
I'm just asking a simple question. What would you do? That's all I'm asking. How would you take care of the problem? That's it. It's a simple
Food prep.
Bella, you were so great. Thank you. Your question I didn't answer earlier, but would I want to go into tax preparation? Under no circumstances. I'd rather die. And I think that proved it today. I am not good with numbers. This gives me hives. It makes me sweat. And I'm glad I don't do my taxes. But thank you for doing them, because we need people like you who are smart and not scared of numbers like me.
Oh, thank you, Bella. And I appreciate the fact that you put up with us for so long.
This was really interesting.
Actually puts it so mildly.
You're so honest. I love it.
Great.
No sugarcoating. Thank you.
It's right.
This has been the Lighter Side of Finance podcast. Our executive producer is Billy C. Production assistance by Sam Moody. Our opening music is from BillClantonMusic.com. I'm your AI announcer. I am nobody. Literally. Make sure you like and subscribe to The Lighter Side of Finance wherever you find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Be sure to visit our website, thelightersideoffinance.com.